that we lost the live feed. I wanted to come back on, and Frank wanted to come back on, but he lost his feed too. Oh, there he is. He
Oh,
must have got his feedback.
everybody's
We just
okay.
had a
We're all
little
back.
bit of a. Yep, we're all back.
How
The
do
only
we?
the only problem is that it says episode 23.
I
People,
was
it's
just gonna say, how
38.
does it say episode? Oh, wait up. I think we can edit episode 39,
39,
part 2.
part 2. So I am so sorry that we lost y'all.
We are
I
streaming.
don't. Every night for the past 3 nights, my internet's been
Okay.
saying slow service. So I don't know if it just disconnected us or what it did.
Oh, maybe that's possible. They could have
Okay,
done that.
but
Oh well.
pick, picking up where we left off, we're not going to linger on to figuring
Back.
out what the problem is. We're just going to pick up.
Well, that's it.
So we were talking about synchronicities. We discussed near death experiences and out of body experiences and astral traveling. So you were saying, Frank, I heard
Uh,
you saying, I could hear you saying, we lost Jill. Jill, we lost Jill. And I'm like, no,
well,
I'm
because I was
here.
like, oh crap, where's Jill?
I'm here. I'm here. And oh, I'm sorry, y'all. We've lost Jill. We are talking about, I don't know what.
Well, that's and then the stream
Woo!
ended, but then some of it was because some comments were talking about the electric car. So I was like, okay, well, wait up, it hasn't been that long that we've lost the feed. I don't know when
Oh,
that
yes,
happened.
that's where we were. I
So
did
that
see
was
a comment from Shelly about something about the sun running a car. Shelly, if you're still there,
the wind.
re-comment.
She said we
Or
should
the
make wind
wind.
cars, and
Yeah.
then I said, yeah, we have these little windsurf things on wheels, right? We could use
S-
those.
So we're gonna say that the not the sun, but yeah, it is the sun that I guess runs those smart cars, those Teslas, huh?
No, it's run by batteries.
Oh, yeah, they charge them. They don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's not like a solar, but don't they have a car or something?
No, we have. There's probably
Is it
prototypes. Like
golf
I'm sure
carts
there
maybe that
is.
they have solar?
Well, that's quite
Don't tell
possible.
me that they can run a house on solar power, but they can't run a car.
You need a lot of panels and you need battery. It's not just making the power, it's the power management that's
So,
complicated.
what's the
If you make too much
situation?
power, you got to store it somewhere. You
Oh,
can't just make it vanish. You know what I mean? You have to
what you
either
mean?
burn it. Well, when you create power,
See, I guess I'm
right?
not familiar with that
You have
subject.
it has to either be used or be like it has to be either wasted or once you can't store it, you start making your system starts like falling apart. There's fail safes, and I don't know everything about the whole systems, but I know that at some point I was watching a few videos about guys setting up their own power, like off grid, whatever,
Hmm.
and that's what they were explaining. That one guy he was using hydro, and he was saying I get too much power, like I have a problem because I don't have enough batteries to store all the power, and then I have to manage to burn it. So he had these things running that their only purpose was literally to burn the extra power that he had because he had too much power and he couldn't store it all.
Hmm.
As we get better technology in batteries, we'll be able to do more of that, but for now we have whatever we have with the lithium, and it's not the greatest technology whatsoever. uh,
Yeah.
but I'm hopeful that because there's a bunch of other technology coming. There's a technology using nuclear waste. There's a technology using hemp. There's a technology, like there's a whole bunch of
Hemp? Like
emerging.
it? What?
Oh yeah, there's a technology to make batteries using hemp for sure.
Well, they say you can heal anything with hemp or
Did I mention
THC
I
or
look up a
whatever.
lot of stuff?
Yeah, what I want to know is where you find in your brain to store all this stuff that you look up.
You know what? Because I have such a sucky memory, it just it's
Sucky. Your memory's so sucky because you got so much knowledge from now.
well, no, but that's the thing. So I just kind of shove it there, and then it comes back later but out of context and in some weird. The amount of times that I've said to people, we need to do it this way because that's the best way it'll work, and they're like, why? And I'm like, I don't know, I can't tell you, but I know that's
Mhm.
the right way. And they're like, okay, you're out to lunch, and I'm like, no, it's because I know I've looked this up, but I cannot give you all the details because I've forgotten all the details except the end result, right?
That's my same problem with like psychic readings because a lot of times people come back and like, well, why did you feel this and why did you feel that? What
Mhm.
did I feel? I don't even remember what I
Yeah,
said.
exactly. It's like, I don't know.
Like
This was a non-event for me. It wasn't a
yeah,
it
I don't
wasn't
have
as
enough
eventful.
memory in my brain to store psychic readings. I just don't.
Yeah,
Um
you kind of have to, when you have a crap
and
memory, you
how do you know this? Why
pick.
do you feel this? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I don't know where I get it from. All I know is I get it.
It's, I think sometimes it's a mix, right? It's like it can be, some of it is from something we're tapping into. Some of it is like, as empaths, right? Everybody's always like, "Oh, empaths, we can read people," and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, now is that because I have a special gift? Is that because I've learned, because I was in crappy situations, I've learned really fast how to read small micro details on people that allow me to know a lot. Now, because I've looked at it from both angles, I can tell you that in my case, sometimes it's blatantly because I noticed something about the person. Like I've said so to my son, even at some point. I've said like, "Hey, Noah, um, I said that because your lip did that thing or whatever." I told him, this is why I'm saying it. Like, am I wrong? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, and so I'll identify. I'll be like, okay, this time it was something physical that I noticed that made me know, because I'm like almost a lie detector. I mean, obviously I can get it wrong. I'm not like infallible. My daughter likes to remind me um, that she can lie to me. How wonderful! But but yeah, she'll say like, "You don't always get it right, Dad," and I'm like, "I know, but I get it right often." um, because yeah, it's like we become lie detectors. We were so used to.
You know what's funny, Frank? Your kids are not old enough for you to understand this, but like when your kids get older and they go into relationships, watch how it is where you can tell who's saying what. Like I don't know how to say this. Like, you know
I think
how,
I get
like,
it though.
you raise your kids and you know what's gonna come out your kids' mouth because you know them, you raise them,
Yeah, yeah.
they're your kids, and then they get into a relationship and somebody tries to tell them what to say, think, or feel, and
Hmm.
then you're like, "That's not you talking, who the fuck you are?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your
Yeah.
kids are not old enough for that yet, but it's coming.
Well, unfortunately, my daughter hangs out with an older kid, and that's coming through because of stuff like that a little bit. Well, it's because at that point, like once you enter the teenage years, it's you become irrelevant. You're the parent. You'll become relevant again in their 20s.
Mhm.
That's it. Until then, you are not relevant. What you say
Well, it might even be
does
after
not
the
matter.
20s, I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, they each had their time, but I mean, yeah, there's a while
I
where,
had 4 kids. I have out of 4, I have 2 that actually come around a lot.
well, that's it.
So
But
I
I
guess I'm
mean,
I'm half in the middle, I don't know.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, hey, don't some move to
I'm
China, right? Some
adjusting
move to.
I'm adjusting right now to, life without kids.
Hmm.
Um I'm trying to find I know what I need to do. I know what I'm supposed to do. But it's hard to make that transition from having a house that is so noisy and you aggravated and then having a quiet house and looking back and seeing all the things you did wrong. Like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? And it's too late to do it over. And the most frustrating things are the people in my life that are in their early 20s that I'm like, listen, do this and do that because I don't want you to mess this and that up. And then I go back and I'm like, well, wait, if you would have told me this when I was in my early 20s, I wouldn't have
F
listened.
you.
So why would you listen? Like, yeah, just go ahead. You gotta listen, you gotta learn it for yourself. But
It's because
it's it's hard to look at people that didn't learn it yet. And it's like, oh, can I go back and do it again? Please, with the knowledge, but with the
I
knowledge I
think
have
that part
now.
is an age thing. It's because yeah, like at 20 in your 20s, you're you're supposed to be out and seeding the world, right? Like you're
Hmm.
supposed to be like just and then in your 30s you kind of start, oh, okay, going back to, whoa, wait a minute, like things are, and then you start feeling like, you wake up one morning and your back goes like, what the heck? And you're just like, all right, okay, wait up, maybe it's time to slow down and get a little more serious. And then you reach your 40s and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, half my life is gone, and
Yeah.
what have I accomplished, right? And then you get a midlife crisis where you need to redefine yourself and find your purpose in life, right? And then you do, sort of, and like, I think it's so, and so yes, you do. And now you enter your 50s and you start going, holy moly, dude, like all this complication for what?
Yeah.
Nothing? Wow. Okay, that was.
And
And then you try to tell a 20-year-old and they're looking at you like, the heck is wrong with you, old person?
but what about all that time, Frank, we spent when we were like teenagers, like waiting to grow up? And then all of a sudden, wait, what? Where that time went?
Oh, I'm still
Like
waiting.
what? It just
I'm still
flew
waiting.
by. I
I'll
don't
grow up
feel,
someday.
you know what the worst part of growing old is? This is the worst part of growing old. Is that you look old, you get wrinkly and bigger or smaller or different or
You
shorter or
just still
whatever,
feel like the
but
kid.
your head in your mind still feels like you could do what you could do when you were 16.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, you look at
But
other people and you go,
your
"Oh, look at the
body can't
old
keep
people."
up.
You look at people and you're like,
Oh,
look at
that
the
I
old
think
people. Oh
that's
shit,
the
they're my
worst
age."
part of getting old is being teased by your own mind, like, "Ha ha, look how I think.
But I don't,
Ha ha, look what you
but
can
it
do."
comes with being wise, though. That's the thing, right? Like, I don't know. I like being old. I'm okay with being old. I don't mind.
I I'm okay with being old. I'm ready to. Whenever it's my time, I'm ready to go. I'm good. I think I did what I had to do. I think
Oh,
I
I
did.
still think, I know you've got plenty to do. I mean, come on,
Yeah, but
We're just starting now.
I feel I'm
Yeah.
ready to. I'm good.
No, you're not.
Um,
You've got plenty coming.
experienced enough of this shit.
Yeah, but you're gonna
Anyway,
experience new shit now. That's the whole thing.
yeah, I don't like the
Because you're
old
done with
shit.
that
I
shit.
don't like the old shit, Frank. I want to be like
Well,
20
but that's
again.
no, but that's the whole. No, no, no. But I mean, no, but seriously, 20? Oh man, I was a mess.
I mean, if
I
I
don't
could
know
go
about you,
back
but
to for be real, I would go all the way back to like just born. But I have to go back with my memory. If I'm going back to just being born and doing it and going through all this fucking commotion again, no, I'm good.
I think that's what
That's the
happens when we're
thing. We
born
can
in the
never go
first
back with
place.
our memory. Never.
You can't go back. No, that's the thing. I think we do. I think we do 100%.
Yeah, but
We're
we
born
unlearn it.
we're born with our memories. However, not a single
Unlearn
thing
it.
we remember is is useful to us. We're completely, like, here's the whole thing, right? Here's what I think happens possibly. When we die, we come back in the new body, the new baby, whatever. We remember our old life. We remember everything. However, we're a baby now. We have no use for language. We have no use for any working skill we had for anything. And unless we learn to freak out, cry, and, whatever, in ways that makes those guys react the right way, right? Because we need to be fed, changed, whatever the hell the case may be. And so immediately we're catapulted in a life where we need to go nah 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 constant.
Bro, that
I
didn't
mean,
work for
dude,
me.
whatever we could remember is gone, erased, useless. We learn to scream at the top of our lungs to survive, and that's why we don't remember it too, because
That
it's like
that
so
did not
traumatic.
work for me though. Like I'm still screaming like to get my way and it never works.
But here's the thing, though, like, not to make it a pro or con thing or whatever, but it would explain trans people because they were potentially a female who now was born in a male body and remembers being a female. So they identify as who they were in that previous life. And
But
so they identify as that person, which they are
that's
because
true.
the soul has no end, right? It goes from life to
Right.
life to life. And so they happen to be in a life where they're going like, what do you
They
mean?
have some of their memory,
Like
their
this don't
feel. I
work.
get it. I never thought about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
Like, but I mean, again, I'm sure I'm going to get burned on the cross for that one,
I
but
whatever.
you know,
You're
but
gonna
I
get
mean,
to do if you do, and you don't if you don't. I
and
think
if
we're
anybody's
gonna
going to see it as
find
a judgment, dude, like
we're gonna find
I've hung out with
our
everybody.
people no matter what, because we have people that understand the way we talk. And the people that don't, then I mean, scroll on. We sorry. We don't mean to offend anybody.
Oh,
We
that's about it.
are. I
That's about it.
mean, hey,
I
we
don't
in
mean
two
to
different
offend people, but I
countries.
managed to.
But
I
as I think it makes a lot of sense what you're saying. So you're saying that like maybe someone was a female in another life and they are reincarnated into a male body, but they still have, even though they don't have the parts of a male body, they have the feelings
Yeah, they're
in their
still
feel.
identifying as that life.
That makes a lot of sense.
the the
Makes a
the
lot of sense.
amnesia hasn't kicked in, right? So the rest of us, it's because we've received amnesia.
Uh
So
huh.
we freaked out, we became baby, went that and
And well,
we
wait,
forgot.
it's not that they didn't receive amnesia. They received the amnesia. They just had what's the word I'm
Remnants.
looking for?
Remnants, I guess,
A
like
fuck
bits and
up.
pieces.
I mean, it was messed up. Like it didn't. I don't know.
Well, but okay, at that point though, do we call it messed up or do
Incomplete
we say it's
file.
part of the whole, design that some of
No,
us would
I
remember that way?
I think that yeah, it was messed up because if they made a life plan to be born as a male and they were a female before and they're still feeling like a female, yeah, there was a mess up, is what I'm thinking.
But
Because but here's
why
why.
would it be allowed?
Because they are allowed. They
No.
made their life plan to be born this way. I'm not saying they're not allowed. Here's the reason
I
why I think
I
they're
didn't say
allowed.
you were saying they're not allowed. I was
Oh.
saying no.
I'm getting
Sorry,
like
I
this
know.
is like
I'm
I
like,
don't know. I didn't
okay,
even
she's
think I was
she's
this
going with.
passionate about this
I
subject.
was like, she thinks I
But
said they're no, they're allowed.
no,
I hear
b-
you.
but the reason why is that like it's not their fault that it was messed up and the transmission went bad.
No, but what I mean is what
So
we're calling messed up. It's one of the shades of gray. Some people
mhm,
remember some stuff. Some people remember, and we may find out over time that other people remember other stuff from
yeah,
previous life, which make them behave a certain way in this life. And like, there's a
I
whole
have a lot of
universe
deja
opening.
vu when I go certain places on certain pieces of land um in my area. So I'm convinced that I had a past life in this area. And I'm also convinced that I drowned in my past life.
Hmm.
Um but I like when you walk into a place or you're walking somewhere and you just feel like, "Oh my god, this I know where I'm at." Like
Hmm.
I don't even know how to explain it unless you go through it. It's just so it's amazing.
I've
And
had
I
a
also know
similar
in a past life
experience.
I was a Capricorn. I have that knowledge. I know I was a Capricorn. Um, like I have a lot of hiccups from my last life that I haven't really put in order yet, and I don't really know where it goes.
I understood Egyptian for about 5 minutes one day. I have no idea how that
I have a
happened.
friend
And I'm not
that
even sure it was Egyptian, actually, to be honest. It was in an Egyptian cafe in Montreal that I used to go, and they had a TV in the corner, and there was a soap opera playing, and I got caught watching it, like I just got immersed in the show type deal while waiting for my coffee, and all of a sudden, when the guy snapped me out of it or whatever, I kind of took my coffee, and I was like, wait a minute. I just understood everything that happened in that scene, and I okay, I don't know, right? Now it's possible that. I just went with the body language. It's possible, but it seemed to me like I had fully grasped everything that had happened in that scene. It was the weirdest experience.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
know. I know exactly what I know what I want to say, but like I don't want to say it like with all these people in the room that is gonna. Let me. It doesn't really matter. So
Shh,
like
people
I've
hide.
had an experience on a piece of land that doesn't have any houses on it, and this was about 10 years ago. It's further up, and I've also found like different objects on this land that I brought home cleaned off, like old things, and like I really feel connected to. I'm not gonna say where it's at because I'm like 100% sure we have people that are in my area watching, but just know it's in Choctaw, and it's this piece of land that, man, I can't even explain it. When it's like a open um pasture, and there's trees on both sides, and then the grass is long, and when I walk through that open pasture, I just I felt mesmerized. I don't even know how to explain the feelings that came over me when I was walking down this pasture. And I had never walked there in this lifetime before to have the familiar feelings that I was
Mhm.
having when I was walking there. And I go there often. In fact, I just went this weekend, and I just go sit there. And I know people think I don't get out my house because they don't see me outside in the neighborhood because I just don't go outside, but I do go in nature. And I just go sit in nature and think and meditate, and sometimes I call friends or whatever. But I just feel really comfortable in this particular area. I'm gonna take some pictures of the area next time I go, Frank.
It's there's a lot to be said in sitting in nature and just, kind of forgetting about
Hmm.
everything. Like the
But the
sounds, the
first time
everything.
it happened, it just hit me. It hit it almost like it just hit me in the face.
Mhm.
Um, it was very peaceful. Say that it was a very good feeling. It wasn't a negative feeling. Some people go back into a past life and they had, abuse or negative things or whatever. This feeling was very positive.
It's we perceive energies all the time, right? Like everything we do, everything we it's all tied together as energy, and I think that's what we perceive. Like, I mean, I mentioned to you earlier, I passed a lady today, and it was such a strange experience. I mean, I
Mhm.
immediately, once I got to a certain distance from that lady, immediately I felt some aggressive energy. I felt something like coming at me in a really, really, really hardcore way. Like, I'm not a person who's going to be like, oh, I'm under psychic attack or whatever all the time. Like, no. But for once, I was like, okay, there's something terribly wrong with that person. And I literally had to create a shield around me so I could, pass near them on the other side of the road, whatever, and just keep going. Now, that never happens. I'm not a person that gets afraid of people. And I wasn't afraid of her either, but it was just the energy. Either she was an energy vampire, but it felt more like it wasn't an energy that was coming at me. But it felt like, I mean, if you told me that, that's a person that kills little children in their basement or something, I would believe it. I would go, yeah, that's what I sensed. But there was something. I sensed like something so horrible with that
And
person's.
yeah, you could
Sorry if
just
you're that person,
no,
but
you just it's so strong, especially for empaths like you and I. You feel that so strongly.
yeah,
Um,
there's
wi-
no.
yeah, when just passing, you don't even have to say words to somebody. You just pass them by, and
It's like, oh, what was that?
I think that's why I like mostly do my grocery shopping of Walmart orders online where I just pick it up, so I don't have to see people. And it's not that I don't like people; I love people, but but you always are gonna meet up with something negative. Like I'm. Let's put it this way: I'm good with people. I love people. I love having people over
Mhm.
at my house because it's my energy. and I know who I'm inviting to my house and I know what energy they have. But if somebody invites me somewhere or to their house, I don't feel comfortable
It's more
because
complicated. There's more
because
energy.
I'm going into their energy and I'm so sensitive that it affects me.
Hmm.
I'm not comfortable.
I There's not a whole lot of places that I don't experience some discomfort because of it. And especially depending on the interest. It's because I guess if you're inviting people, I guess you're inviting people that you know will interact together in a certain way. And where when you go to other places, sometimes the interactions between the people, you kind of go, either they're being phony with each other, and it's just for for some reason that becomes aggressive to us. Now the truth is, we're the exception here. I mean, they do it to each other all the time, and they're okay with it. Like, it's just the way they interact. That's what I'm realizing is, what people call the neurotypicals, or
Yeah.
they just, they interact that way, and it's like we kind of go, okay, but your energy is all off
Energy
because
is
we
strong.
perceive that.
Like my husband doesn't get that. Like he's the type of person, if he's in a bad mood, he'll come home and he'll just like kind of be to himself, but he won't tell me. And I'm like, What's wrong?"
Hmm.
"Nothing's wrong." "Well, why are you in a bad mood?" "No, no, I'm not in a bad mood." And he'll even like reinforce it like by like, "I love you. I'm not in a bad mood. Everything's okay. I love you, baby." I'm like, "Bruh, you can't lie to me. Like I feel it. You don't have to tell me. When you walk in the door, it's like a rush in my face,
Okay,
and it totally changes me if I don't block that off.
are you
Like
ready for me to flip a coin on that one?
as yeah, but he go ahead. Here we go.
We empaths, okay, we're gonna lose half our viewers. We empaths emotionally rape people because
Mm, well,
we have no, if he says nothing, guess what, for other humans who don't feel him, that's plenty,
mm,
that's okay, nothing's
that's
okay, it must have been me. We go,
no,
no, but I know. And
but
so
I
now
do
we're
know.
going into them, and they're like, no dude, I just said I'm okay. And you're like, well, no,
No.
I know you're not okay. And it's like, yeah, but now you're invading my not okay because I didn't want to share it. That's why I said I'm okay.
Oh, Frank, I gotta draw you a
And we
picture
do it
like I
all
drew
the
him.
time.
Okay, here we go, Frank. This is what I told
You're
Rusty. Okay,
invading. He says, I don't want to talk about
I
it.
know. This is me.
Uh huh.
This is Rusty. Put me big, Frank, please.
Well, okay.
This is me. This is Rusty.
Yeah.
This is me and Rusty. Okay.
Okay.
Um, which one's stronger?
What?
This is how I explained it to him. Which one's stronger? So don't try to protect me by not telling me what's wrong because I'm the one that's gonna fix it
No, you don't. No, you don't get to
or
fix
help
others.
you fix it. I can help him fix it if we
He
work
doesn't
as a
want help
team.
fix it, obviously. That's what he's
He
saying.
does. He doesn't want to bother me. That's what it is.
Okay, well, now
He
that's
doesn't.
different.
He doesn't
So
want.
what he says is unimportant.
No, it is important, but it is what he doesn't say.
Well, why
Say.
do we go with what? Okay, but what he doesn't say comes out of either of our heads because he doesn't say it. So whatever we're
But I know
placing
he
there,
has something to say. Frank, you're not gonna tell me that you don't live with somebody that that when they're in a mood, a bad mood, a good mood, a normal mood, or whatever. Like when you sense
mhm.
that you can't sense that their mood gets off.
No, that's what I'm saying. As empath, particularly, we
But
can
anybody, I
sense
think
their mood.
anybody
No,
can do that
no, not everybody. Well, to a certain, no, some people can't, but
if you live with
but
somebody
most
long
people,
enough.
no, some people can't. There's people with zero empathy. That's called
M-
empathy.
Well, majority
Some
of
people have zero
of
empathy.
people, whether they're psychic, what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to be psychic to be able to sense if your
What I'm
person you're
saying
living
is,
with is
yeah,
in a
but what I'm
mood
saying is, you're psychic, right?
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, you're an empath, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a special ability to perceive how he's feeling more than the
Mm-hmm.
average person. Do you not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's our responsibility to not invade people because we can see that shit. Because everybody else they interact with doesn't call them out on it.
What is a Monica?
A what?
Just so you know, Frank, the
Uh-huh.
chat is not coming up. I got chat on my phone right here
Okay.
from a lot of different people,
Hmm.
and it's not coming up. Just letting you know. Somebody said something. Bryson Anna Monica. I don't know what he's talking about. Anna Monica.
Okay.
But anyway,
Why he said that? Where I can
well,
go
it's
look at
not
it.
showing up. I see it.
Well, I can go look where
AM.
you see it. Where do you see it?
Bruh, I just held a damn am. What?
Well, I don't know because I can't see
What? Y'all joking.
about
Wait up, Frank. Hold on a minute. This better be a joke.
what.
Can you end the live, Frank?
Why?
I'm gonna tell you after.
Okay. Guys, I guess this is gonna be good night, and we will talk to you next week. Sorry for the abrupt ending here. Okay, well, here's what I'll go join Jill in a second, but I'm gonna say, well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for those who are still with us, even though we had lost you for a little bit there. Come back next week. Hey, okay, starting next week, actually, big changes. We're gonna do the show every Thursday, so it's less confusing for people, and because whatever was blocking us from doing it is not blocking us anymore. And so, well, definitely join us again on this. Um,
Frank,
oh, okay, Jill is back. All right.
we are good. We just gotta kill a kid. That's all.
We just got to kill a kid. Okay, cool. All right. Should we do that live on the
Oh,
internet
I
or?
want to. Y'all don't want to know what they just did to me.
All
Wait
right.
for
So,
Russell to come out the bedroom screaming because I just woke him up. Because they told me that Draven got bit by a snake and they was going to the hospital
oh no, as a
as a
joke.
joke.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm not laughing.
That's funny.
Why you laugh with everybody but me?
Oh well, no, I get it. I get that you're all
No, he's
worked up about
joking.
it.
Oh,
We'll survive.
Draven, I know y'all watching my live, and
We'll
Russie is
survive.
pissed. Bruh,
We'll survive this. I may have to have a discussion with him too, but
these kids
it's
don't
fun.
realize what they do to us.
Or they do.
This is why I won't live long.
Or
This
they
is
do.
why.
Maybe okay, you know what though? Think about it this way. If you ever think your kids are bad, remember this. When I was a teenager, I thought you need to train your parents properly. That's what I thought. And so that's what I tried to do. And yeah, it didn't go well for me or them. But it was a thing I used to say. So what's going on now? They're going to the hospital for something
No,
else?
the snake really did bite him. It's just not a venomous snake. And of course, I went off. This is my kid we talking about.
Of course. Of course.
The snake really did bite him, but it's not
Really?
a poisonous snake.
So it's just
My little cousin got a snake today. And oh, I hate snakes. He brings these snakes to my house. When we
oh.
have gumbo cooks offs and stuff, he brings the snakes to my house. But anyway, Draven's trying to get a snake. Draven wants another cat. Oh my god, don't even get me started. Let's stick to the subject.
Well, that's okay. If you get him both, you'll eventually only have one.
No.
Actually, the snake.
He might be able to get a snake and feed the cat to it. I don't
No,
know, but
actually,
like
that's the whole thing. Is that the cat is faster than the snake? Cats are excessively fast.
Spirit Guide's not. Spirit Guide is like a little angel cat. This is
Yeah,
what
but
she
they're
does. When I
fast.
put her little nails on her claws, she sits in my arm and she goes, "Ew," but she don't move. She just
she
growls at me.
Well, because she gets that it's gonna happen
She's
and
like, I know
whatever.
you're
She
gonna
just
do
hates
it,
it.
bitch.
Yeah, my cat was doing the same thing. It was they don't like it. They don't like their nails chopped at all. But you know what? They humor us because but cats, okay. Here's the nice part about cats. They were the one and only animal ever who came to us to be domesticated. Like cats just
uh,
show up. They showed up one day
I
and
never
went,
liked cats.
meow,
I was
hi,
allergic to cats.
feed
I
me.
always would get, you know what a ringworm is?
Yeah, yeah.
Every time I tried to have a cat, I had a ringworm,
Really?
and
Oh
so I
wow.
always hated cats. And I don't know. One day I was like, I think I want a black cat, but it had to be a black cat. And I went to the shelter, and this black cat was looking at me. She was like,
And
"Take
there
me
she
home,"
is.
and
She is
she's
a
been my
cutie.
little savior ever since.
She's a cutie. She's a very nice cat.
She's like, I don't know. I
So
think
what's
I
the
don't
deal
know.
with black cats?
Well, they say if a black cat crosses in front of you, you're gonna have bad luck or something's gonna happen. I don't know. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, what started it that black cats were? Do you know? I don't know. Does
I
anybody
don't know.
know?
I think it might have been like around a
Any
Halloween type
friends?
thing. Y'all want to hear us cat story? Let's see. So, all right. Can I show a advertisement to tell a story real quick?
Okay.
All right. So, guys, just in case you want, I'm gonna tell you a story out of one of my books, and if you, it's gone. All right.
Oh, the book. You
Oh
had an
no.
overlay of the book.
I had a code to be able to click on it if you wanted to buy the book, but it's gone. Okay, anyway, you can look it up. Just look up my name if you interested in the book. It's called Folklore Across the Globe. So, here's an interesting story. This is a very good story. My grandma always told me stories growing up. And sadly, before she passed away, I didn't get like all the details of how it went because I only remembered like bits and pieces because there was many stories. But one of the stories that she told me was about, and I don't know if she called it the Rougarou or not, but it was about a man. And if you stay to the end of the story, you're gonna hear a little bit of a feedback on the story of how I got double told this story. So it makes it even more probably true. It's folklore, but you decide. Here we go. So there was a man, and when my grandma told me this story, I always pictured this story. If for those of y'all who live in Choctaw, there was two big oak trees right outside my house, right next to my carport. And I always, when my grandma would tell me the story, pictured this man shaving on the second oak tree. The second one was a little bit little, if for those of y'all that a little bit smaller for those of y'all that remember. Anyway, there was a man, and back in the day there was no electricity. So he was shaving with one of those straight razors like what I had in beauty school. The Frank,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what a
Straight razor.
straight razor, and there was no electricity, so he had a mirror on the tree, and he was shaving, and a cat was coming and rub against his leg, and he was getting aggravated, and he didn't want to cut himself. So the cat kept rubbing against his leg. I see a bunch of shock dogs coming in here now. If y'all know this story, y'all need to share this with me, because I see the numbers adding up, and I know all of these people might have heard a bit of this story. So um the man got aggravated, and he took the straight razor, and he threw it down, and it hit the cat in the nose.
Nope.
When it hit the cat in the nose, the cat turned into a man. Now, I see somebody in here that might remember this story, and I have a really strong feeling you remember this story. I don't want to call you out and mention your name, but I have a strong feeling you remember this story, so just tell me if you do. Cat turned into a man. So my grandma told me that she was a little girl, and every time they would see the man, he would walk on the road, they would all go hide and they were all scared because the story was it was some kind of spell that was put on the man, and this is where it gets foggy and I don't remember the whole story. Something about a spell was put on the man, And if they told somebody before a certain amount of time, they were going to turn into the cat. So after that certain amount of time passed, yeah, they could tell somebody and they did, but the kids were still scared of him when he would walk on the road. Now, okay, so my grandma died. It's 3 years my grandma died. Um, and I guess about a year after my grandma died, after I had wrote this book, I was interviewing people, and I interviewed somebody else, and this person that I interviewed, she also died. Somebody else from Choctaw, and I'm not naming no names. Um, she told me the same story that my grandma told me, but I didn't tell her that my grandma told me this story. She told me the same story. So I want to know in the comments, Frank. We're not seeing the comments at all.
No, it's a problem. I know.
I want to know in the comments if anybody around here has heard this story or heard a similar
I think the
story.
same thing happened last time we had to reboot, so we may not
Okay, the
get them.
person that I said has heard it is confirming. And you, Miss Juanita, we would love to meet with you. Well, I would love to meet with you because this is, to me right now, is the time where if people want to know things that went on, they need to know, because the generation's changing so much. We want to be able to remember these things. Frank, we got a shitload of comments and we don't see none of them.
Weird. Oh, okay. Now I have Shelly saying I can't see them either. Okay, well, give me a second. Let me. Oops. Sorry. Now I've actually shown her comment. Oops.
So this person that I thought it was and who's confirming it, I don't know if somebody else can see her comments or not. Oh wait, hold on.
They're on your page, eh?
Okay, I see Shelly saying I can't see them either. Was told from my mom, same way. All right. Miss Juanita is saying that she was told the story the same way. Now, um,
I think they'd all have to go on live with Jill and Frank because we can see Shelly's comments, but we
that's
can't
the
see
problem
other
with
ones.
sharing the thing. Yeah, we can only see the comments that came into the original live. If you join from a different platform, we can't see
No,
your
but
comments. But
even from okay, right now I'm seeing streaming.
so let's see. I have a lot of my gifted people coming in the room right now.
Oh, it's because we're
Um,
streaming
I
on
have a lot of I have a couple of cousins who are also strongly gifted. Some of them have not come out the box yet, or is that what they call it? Out the box?
no, I
Out
don't
the
know.
what? Out the
I
closet,
guess, yeah.
whatever. The spiritual
Yeah.
closet. Um,
Yes.
so if you have any folklore stories, I tell you what, um, not only the things that I've experienced, my husband's experience, I've heard from my grandma, or just stories around. I would like to write a part two of this book.
The
Um,
folklore one there.
if yeah, if we could get there where we would be having enough new stories.
Find people that yeah.
So just so y'all know, people, it is across the globe, so it doesn't have to be people in my area. Anybody um who has stories, I would love to hear them.
There you go.
But I definitely have a confirmation of my grandma's story. So let's see. Should I tell another story? See if Miss Juanita has the confirmation on the second one.
Okay. Well, maybe we can close with oh,
All
sorry.
right. So the second one, I've gotten confirmation on the second one from two people. The first story, I had confirmation from one person. Second story, here we go. My grandma and another woman who's deceased, I'm not gonna say names, um, were in a pirogue. uh, what in my vision, what when she told me this story, I pictured this, and this is what I picture. I picture it would be across the street from where I live in the swamp, and she told me that they were just riding in the pirogue and they saw a silver man ahead of them in a boat, and they didn't know who it was. And at that time, right now we live in a small town. People, everybody knows everybody. But at that time, it was an even smaller town, and everybody really knew everybody. And she told me she didn't know who this man was, and she said that they kept hollering different names to see if he would turn around, and calling him different things, and he never turned around. And then he just disappeared. So how I confirmed this story before I wrote that book was my grandma had already passed away, so I couldn't ask her. So I started off with asking my oldest son, "Hey, my grandma kept my kids a lot. My grandma was my mama. So my grandma kept my kids a lot. And so I figured if my grandma told me these stories, she must have told these stories to my kids. So I asked my oldest son, he's 29. I said, "Did Ma ever tell you this story about a silver man?" And he said, "Yeah, she told me a story, but it wasn't, I, I don't know if it was him that said not a silver man or the next person I asked, but somebody told me it was a blue man." But anyway, she had told this story. And then I asked a childhood friend who was also a cousin, and she remembered the story. So the story was very similarly remembered. Hey Iris, what's up? Hey Heather, what's up? Not Heather Tabor, Heather, different Heather. Hey Leslie, what's up? Connor, thank you, Connor. Connor's taking my side with Bryson over there. Let's see. Um, do y'all have any stories like folklore stories in Canada, like we have over
Well, I'm
here,
sure we do, but I'm not in like it's not
but none
something I
in your
know.
family that you've
Not
heard?
really. Well, I might have, but that's not something I would remember. I have a crap memory. I don't remember those things.
I'm talking about you can call it the Rougarou. I don't know if that's what you want to call it. It can be called the Rougarou, or we called it the Silver Man. But I mean, I have more stories. Samantha, I have a feeling you got some stories for some reason. I don't know why I feel like Samantha got some stories. But yeah, the reason why we named it, why I named it Across the Globe, is because um I did, we hear a lot of things about Louisiana where it's like we hear voodoo, New Orleans, all different things. And I figured like if things happen in Louisiana, they have to happen other places around the world. It can't just be here that these things happen. So I started doing research for about 2 years before I wrote that book, and interviewed multiple people in multiple countries who had similar stories.
But there's still there's agglomerations of those stories. And Louisiana is one place that does have a lot, right? Some of
Hmm.
it comes with culture. Some of it comes with, like, I mean, voodoo, right? Voodoo would come with the Asian culture. It would come, so a lot of it is dependent on where the cultures ended up in the past. And from there, certain things took roots, and then they started growing in that area. So yeah, in some areas you'll find almost nothing, where in other areas you'll find a lot of things. Assume for a moment that we can draw spirit, we can do all these things, right? Well, if you live in an area where it's something more popular than in another area, or something more widespread, or something more, well, then by all likeliness, yeah, there's going to be a lot more weird stuff going on there, because people are opening doors left, right, and center. You know what I mean? um
Hmm.
it's a theory. But
But I mean, it's not. I don't think like voodoo is just a New Orleans
No,
culture.
it's not.
It's all. I think it really came
That's what
Haiti,
I said.
right?
Haitian.
Um, Now a lot of things in New Orleans is it's not just voodoo in New Orleans. A lot of people take New Orleans for voodoo, but there's also like vampires in New Orleans. Um,
Yeah, there's all kinds
I
of.
could like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but New Orleans is like a what's the word? Um, a magnet for these types
I
of
keep on
people.
thinking of the movie Bad
Of
Boys.
not necessarily. I don't think I meant to say people, but like New Orleans is yeah, it's a magnet for spiritualism
Yeah, it's got a
for
lot of history with it. It's definitely it's definitely a thing there. You know what I mean? You're gonna find crystals and whatever like easily, right? Like I'm gonna have to walk, like I'm gonna have to go super far because nobody cares about that here. I'm in a government city, right? You're in a
Mhm.
city where like, yeah, that's just part of the culture. That's part of the everybody kind of sees all that stuff and goes, you know.
But there's for those of you who want to know, there's multiple things and I'll tell you also where I've had like I hate to say false alarms, but false alarms, like where I got so paranoid in the beginning of my development where I would be like, "Oh shit, this," and it wasn't like really
I'm
nothing.
getting haunted. People are attacking me.
So,
Oh God,
yeah,
I know, and I
yeah,
see so much of that.
yeah, because when you first start going through development, like you're like, "Is this real?
Yeah, I'm
Is
going
that
crazy.
real? Is what's real?"
Hmm.
Like you're freaking out. So, I'll give you an example. When when I was first going through development, one of my twins was going to the what do you call it? Renaissance festival
Okay.
with his
Hmm.
godmother, and I I mean, no big deal. He goes, he used she's she was a great godmother. She did a lot with him. Wasn't a big deal, but so I didn't think about it at the time because it wasn't a big deal because it was a normal thing for her to take him places. But I was looking in things had happened in that amount of time with like the Ouija board and stuff. And so I was looking in the dryer and I found this like robe. It was like I don't know how to describe it except it looked like an African spiritual robe. Like it was a long robe with like the gold
Hmm.
stuff or whatever. And I started tripping out like that's not mine. That's like who is this for? How did this manifest in my
Yeah.
dryer? Like, and I freaked out and I burned it. And then I found out a week later that it was a costume that his godmother bought for him to wear to the
Oh no.
Renaissance.
Well, yeah.
But at the
You're like, oh my
time,
god, oh my god. I know, and I
at the time, so much crazy stuff had happened that was unexplainable that I was like, oh my
that's another
God. Like
thing. Oh god, it's
It messes with
mhm.
your mind. That's why it's good to go for a psychic evaluation when you go through a spiritual development because it messes with your
Yeah, it
mind.
can a little bit. It can. It's but it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the fun.
Yeah, it's all part of the fun when you look back on it. But at the time, I was
It's
scared.
freaky, yeah.
Now I don't. I've learned to deal with fear. Like I don't have any fear really now. Like I'm accepting, like you said earlier, when a near death experience happens and you just release and you accept it, you're okay. And that's what I've done. Like I've released and I've accepted and like I don't have any fear. But at the time, I did because I was experiencing so many things for the first time that it just tripped me out. But now it's a great story. It made for a great story.
But it's, yeah, it can be a little freaky at first. It's because you're discovering a whole bunch of stuff, and there's even more after, and there's like, it never ends, right? It keeps on going.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're kind of discovering yourself. You're discovering concepts that, it's funny because at first they're just concepts, right? Like they're it's like you said, right? You're going like
Hmm.
that oneness, like what the heck, right? It's intellectual at first. It's like, okay, so how does this work? How do I make it make sense to me, right? And whether you're an emotional person, then you'll try to make sense of it emotionally, or if you're an intellectual person, you'll try to make sense of it intellectually. And the truth is, well, that part of us is the part that's beyond physicality. So in matter, you don't really get to experience it except for glimpse of it, except for, but those glimpses, like once you kind of grasp what it can mean, you can never describe it because you're like, okay, whatever, that makes no sense. But you perceive it. That, and it's not only that, but you perceive. It's like, instead of looking at the world and looking at everything there is in the world, you start looking at the world as, what is the relationship between everything in the world. So you start looking at relationships. And now all of a sudden you start establishing relationships between everything. And as you do this, well, now everything becomes one. There's many ways to do this.
So I'm not sure if Miss Sheila, just so you know, I know you saw Shelly comment. Miss Sheila, Shelly's mama, just a
Okay.
reference. So I see a comment from Miss Sheila, and you can't see it up here for some reason. It's not showing,
Mhm.
but she says, "I heard one about Madame Gros, who lived in the swamps. Don't remember how it went." So Miss Sheila, in case you're still here, I think I know the story you're talking about, and I think this would have happened in, oh man, what's the name of that swamp? On the way to Gonzales. Uh oh, my husband's gonna know the name of it. I can't think of the name of it off my top of my head, but it was something about this woman that predicted something, and a hurricane came and like destroyed a bunch of stuff. If that's the story that I'm thinking about. Um, damn, what is the name of that place? They go hunting over there. I want. I don't know why I want to ask you the name of the place, Frank. You don't
No,
know. Um,
never been anywhere near.
and I'm not sure if that story's in my book or not. You know what it is, Frank? It is that whoever joins in from YouTube or wherever
Hmm.
else, or no, whoever joins in from a shared version of the live, the chats don't cause doesn't
Well,
come
they're
through.
all
That's what
shared
it is.
versions of the life.
No, like the original version when we originally went live, we get those chats.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. We went live on all of them. We went live on 6 different platforms.
Yeah, but then I shared it out after, and
Oh,
if someone joined it from the share out, we don't see those things, but I see it here on my
okay.
phone.
That's possible, yeah.
Hi, mommy. My mommy's here.
Well, she's a little late. We're almost closing.
Yeah.
It's I do have to. I'd love to go on forever, but I do have to work in the morning chipping concrete. Yay!
All right. So we're gonna end this. So I think we got a good bit of information out tonight.
Hopefully,
If somebody has questions about the things that we said, the topics we had, or if you have a near death experience yourself, or anything to go, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear
yeah,
from you.
definitely. And as usual, keep coming. And like I said, we're gonna be moving starting next week. It's gonna be Thursdays every week. And so that's going to be a good thing. It's going to be easier to keep track of for us, for you, for everybody new. Bring friends, send people, share, whatnot, like us, anything you can do that will tell the algorithm that, you love us and you want more.
So my mom is saying it's not in Gonzales, in Morgan City. It's in Morgan City, Chacahula. Um, I got it. It's in Lake Maurepas. Is where it just came to me, and I think that's on the way to Gonzales, maybe like on the back road of I-10 to Baton Rouge. Might be wrong, but my mom must know something about Gonzales, Morgan City. Maybe she has a different story. Comment, let us know if you have stories. If you want to share with us, we'd love to hear them.
All right. Well, on that, I guess we're good.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back. Are we going to be live? Not this Thursday, but
Not this
next.
Thursday. It's going to be the next Thursday, and then it's
Okay.
going to be always on Thursday.
All right.
That's
So we're going straight from next Thursday, every Thursday instead of alternating. That'll be easier for y'all. And we got more interesting comments to come for the spring.
yeah.
Thank you
And
for
feel free
joining us.
to interact anytime on our page, anywhere. We answer questions. We're always there looking, and if anything gets said, we try to answer it.
Love and light to everyone. Good night.
Take care, you guys.